Hey, thank you, Tony McGee, for your 40 years on the air. You still look great. And I just like to say, there's no school like the old school, brother.
A rivalry renewed on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. But what wasn't pretty, the football on the field. What started as an ugly one ended up in a frenzy. But when it was all done, Dallas prevailed.
We just didn't play our best. We didn't play complimentary football.
What to make of this latest letdown?
There's no reason to panic, no reason to start thinking negatively.
And it's time to talk Titans.
We got to keep our heads held high and get back to work.
Go back to work. Go back to work.
On this, Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus.
The man
call somebody,
is back,
tell
y'all.
somebody.
We're
He's
back.
Call
He's
your
back.
mama, call your daddy.
We're back and we're back.
We're back.
Tony McGee,
back, y'all.
We're back.
Tony
McGee.
Come on.
Tony McGee, Pro Football Plus. Tony McGee, Pro Football Plus. Tony McGee, Pro Football Plus. Tony McGee.
Welcome to Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus. Ed Sal just told you. It's been 40 years, but he had to laugh when he said I still look good. Because I know I look now, but it's pretty good anyway. But hey, let's talk about who did not look good. We want to see what's up. You know what we have to see during the course of this show? We got to see, is this really a 7-5 or a 5-7 team? So I bought Sal in ESPN. You know we get the bet. Then you also bring in the Donna Hopkins because she's in the locker room. I went out there in the jungle and got the big fella out, the treetop lover, my son Solomon McGee, and he loves football. I tell you, you're doing a good job with it and everything. And then you have to go out and we got some questions about the quarterback. This is a man that called me Shaft's daddy. If any of y'all know who Shaft is, look it up. But at the same time, the man knows his stuff. We brought Jason back. Jason, welcome to the show. We might as well get started. We said, what's up now? What is this team? Is this team a 7-5 or 5-7?
Hey, Tony, you know what? Right now, they're 7-5. But you know what? They are losers of their last 3 games, Tony. But before we get into the nuts and bolts of what happened to this team that let the Dallas Cowboys come in here and beat them, let's go to the locker room to hear from the players, to hear what they had to say about this disappointing loss in the division where they dropped 2 back-to-back divisional games.
Oh, man. It's kind of indescribable right now. I don't think we started the way we were supposed to. It was a hard fight to the end, but I had to find a way to put a whole game together, at the end of the day. So, yeah, it's a tough one.
Offensively right now, could you put your finger on 3 games in a row this team loses where they had opportunities to win? Slow start today again. What do you say?
We just have to come out faster, take advantage of the opportunity that's given to us. We didn't convert on a lot of stops that the defense had got for us, so that's another thing we just had to capitalize.
What frustrates you more right now?
Just not being able to capitalize. That's it. Just knowing what we can do, and at the end of the day, when you know that you can do something and it just doesn't happen the way that you planned it to go, that's a real frustration.
Towards the fourth quarter, we started, when our back was against the wall, we started playing with tempo, obviously that 2-minute tempo, which is, what we want to do. We just haven't been able to do that early on. I think we've been shooting ourselves in the foot in that aspect of not being able to play to our strengths offensively, just as a collected unit and everything like that. So, something we've got to figure out for sure. And we can't let these games keep on piling on like this. And I don't know, it's just like there's miscommunication or what. I can't put my finger on it. I really can't. But it's just not firing at all cylinders right now. but nothing we cannot fix, and get in the room together and talk about it. So I'm not worried about this team and where trajectory is going.
A little frustrating, we know what we're capable of, and then obviously not performing up to that standard is frustrating, but still have all the confidence in the players in this locker room and the coaches, that we'll be able to get the job done.
It was just uphill battle constantly. As an offense, we just didn't do our part, I feel like, to win a game. And ultimately that is very frustrating as an offensive guy, as a leader on the offense, that we just could not execute at a high enough level to win the game. And we take a lot of ownership in that, and we got to reflect, we got to get better.
Hey, Tony, one thing about it is that they have lost Austin Eckler to a concussion, probably won't play against the Titans. Brian Robinson goes down also with a right ankle injury. Coach Quinn talked about that in his presser on Monday, that not for sure how that's going to go as far as he'll be ready to go against the Titans. And, losing both of those runners is key also. And they've gotten away from their running game, Tony, this Commanders team. That's one problem with this offense, is that they do not run the ball enough.
Let me drop this dime on you. Ain't no talking.
You need to drop a dime on yourself.
They did not run the ball. They couldn't run the ball. So
hey, Tony, they could run the ball if they put the ball in their
hands. Running backs got hurt because they couldn't run the ball. I never saw them push them back, and I'm going to you, Jason, right now. You could tell right there that they were dominated on that offensive line and defensive line. When you looked at the whole game, you come to realize that their coordinator from last year is our head coach this year. So both teams were playing just like this was a chess match, and they were just doing moves. They knew what each could do the best. But the one thing that stood out, when you play like that and you know your opponent, then it comes down to being in condition and how well you play. And that's what happened to them. They made too many mistakes. They did not get the job done. And that's why I said, are they 5-7? Because we may have been given to. So, Jason, tell me one thing. On Sunday, we saw the first time that a quarterback had a lot of fear, a little fear in his eye. Was that because they weren't blocking? Or sometimes, and I can always remember my first game, we were playing Pittsburgh. Now, I was afraid in that game, and they didn't even let me in. So, when you get into pro sometimes, you have that moment where you say, am I really here? Do you think he had one of those moments?
Well, I think Jaden Daniels has played against a lot of competition before, even in the SEC, and now having an opportunity to be in the National Football League. It is the first rivalry game between the Commanders and the Cowboys, which is a lot is at stake when you play that game within the division. I think as a whole, you heard Sam Cosmi say, he said, hey, we want to go tempo. That means they want to go tempo, but the problem with going tempo is if you go 3 and out, now it hurts your defense. You put your defense on the field for a very long time, and then get late in those fourth quarters, that can come back to bite you. I think offensively, this team does well when they're able to establish a run game. So you have to win at the line of scrimmage. And the things they was doing early in the year was a lot of RPO games where, Jaden's reading the backside end, he's reading the Sam linebacker or the wheel linebacker. Those guys come up, you throwing the slants behind it. If you're running the football really well, you can hang on to the action a little bit and get those deep digs and able to hit those post routes, because the safety got to come up in the box to help with the run game between Jaden and the running backs, where now people have found a way to scheme what they do offensively and everything, and that's made it hard on them, because now they haven't figured out, okay, how do we adjust if we can't involve Jaden in the running game as much? Because one, we want to protect him from getting hit and getting hurt, but then you limit your offense, because everything off Cliff Kingsbury's offense is based around the quarterback being able to be a runner. Like I said, when Kyler Murray was at Arizona, first couple of games, they can dictate a lot of things to people, but as soon as your quarterback gets nicked up, and then they say, hey, we don't need this guy getting hurt, the offense kind of starts to hit a pause button, because now you can't go as fast as you want to go. You don't know which plays you want to really get in to keep him upright. And then if you're not protecting at the front on the line of scrimmage and winning those one-on-one battles, now you start to put a lot of pressure on the young quarterback to try to drive you out of games. And like I said before, yesterday, they had 180 yards passing, I believe, before he hit the long pass to Terry McLaurin that kind of went between the down the sideline. So there's a lot of things from an offensive standpoint that people have started to figure them out from a schematically standpoint that they got to start to change. And in order to go fast, your quarterback has got to be involved in the RPO game.
And so, you know, Sal, I asked this question in the beginning, and, you know, with you two going around and seeing all the different teams, what is this team? What do you see with this Washington team? We know we don't command the run because we don't take the line of scrimmage over. We did not even know what number the pass the quarterback had on Sunday. Is this really a 7-5 team that we can look for maybe doing something in the playoffs, Sal, or have we seen the best?
Well, Tony, first of all, thank you for having me on. I've always been a great admirer of yours, and I've loved Jason Campbell from afar. I don't think we've ever met before, Jason, but I've always admired you from afar. And nobody works the locker room better than Donna. Let me tell you that right now. I'd be around. And Donna works the locker room as best as you can. But let me do big picture and little picture. So big picture, I'll just say this. The bye should have come 2 or 3 weeks ago for this football team. I think this football team needed a bye before they played the Philadelphia Eagles after they lost to Pittsburgh. So I was in the radio booth, as Donna knows, for the Steelers game in Landover. And I said to my partner, Steve Levy, who was the play-by-play guy, and I was the analyst, boy, oh boy, I have not seen this Washington front seven play so ferociously. They played with high energy. They played tough. They played with great discipline, and they went toe-to-toe with a very good Steelers team, and they wound up losing that game in heartbreak fashion when Russell Wilson threw to a wide receiver he had not thrown to all year long, and they completed that touchdown. And they had a couple of miscues in that game, and I said to Steve Levy, it's too bad this team has got to go on a short week and play a big offensive line like the Philadelphia Eagles and play Saquon Barkley, because that is a tall order for this defense that is leaving everything out on the field. And for the first half, 3 quarters, they played Eagles toe-to-toe, the division leader, and then they just ran out of gas in the fourth quarter. And I think once they got to the Washington game, Washington figured out, as Jason pointed out so well, that there's certain things that the Cliff Kingsbury offense does that you can take away if you play press man coverage on Terry McLaurin and you bottle Jaden Daniels into the pocket. Don't let him get out of the pocket. What the Eagles did, Quinyon Mitchell made Terry McLaurin disappear in the game. He had 1 catch. You play man coverage. Now Jaden's got to hold the ball a beat and a half longer than he's usually has to hold it. And now he can't escape. And he's going to get hit and he's going to get sacked. And that's what Washington did last night in a lot of ways, I thought, against Washington. But big picture, I think if Washington, after losing to the Steelers, had the bye there, I actually think they would have had a better shot of beating Philly and Dallas.
I tell you, Donna, you haven't had a lot to say, but as I look at the interviews that you
but I do have a lot to say.
Make sure it's not erroneous. Tell us the truth. Tell me what you felt in that locker room. Did you feel confident? I'm going to tell you what, the vernacular was very good. Well, when I look back at it, and I know we did not do this. No, I want somebody going to hit somebody in the mouth and make the mouth bleed. That's what we need right now. This team need to be a little tougher.
Hey, Tony, I think they are tough. It's almost like trying to figure out how do we fix the broken few pieces right now. But what I did not see in the game was attack. The games that they won previously they were on attack. I mean, they weren't setting back. They were attacking. Now, they attacked in the second half when they got behind and they were trying to play catch up. And Coach Quinn talked about that a little bit, about wanting to see that on the front end instead of on the back end when you're trying to put it together. But you look at this, the mistakes. You had 2 missed extra points, 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns, and also a block punt and a block field goal. So it's almost like Dallas was trying to give the Commanders the game. I mean, they were like, take the game from us. And the commander was like, no, we want to hang in here and let you all hang in here. But I think what has happened to this team and talking to them in the locker room, you would have loved to be in the locker room, Tony, because the players were angry. They were disappointed. They were puzzled. They want to get this right. They want to get this fixed. And that's what I saw. And as Bobby Wagner, you'll hear from him later, he said these things are fixable. He said that don't throw in the towel on them because they can look at the schedule ahead. They can win those games, Tony, but they have to put the pieces together. And he said, talk to me 5 games on down the road. So the players have the right attitude. And I think that's that brotherhood again. But I think that they have to be a little more aggressive with Kingsbury, as Jason and Sal said. They kind of figured out Kingsbury a little bit with what he's done, looking at that. But I saw his offense be vanilla a little bit.
I would agree.
Predictable, but I think that they have the players and the tools to get this right, Tony, to get this ship moving. But Tennessee will not be easy.
Well, you know what, Don, when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about it because it wasn't just the offense. It was a defense as well as special teams. But one thing you said that Bobby said, don't count this team out, but he is aware that 3 knockdowns in the inning is a knockout. We'll be back in a moment.
Frosted Flakes, good? They're great. Great.
You're still great, Grandpa.
See? Told ya.
They're great.
People don't know the real story of what happened.
It was an unbelievable series of events and an unbelievable time.
Their championship was taken away from them in 1969. We are living in their championship now.
50-some years later, good is coming from it. They are impacting state after state after state after state.
And we're going to show the world how to love.
Now, not many times during the course of 40 years you've heard me talk about our defense. I always feel like if you can hold them to a certain amount of points, that you should win the game. But at the same time, when you can see in the body of a game where you're looking at everything that they're doing and you do not see any time that you have no pressures on a quarterback, 2 sacks by a linebacker, no stopping of the run game, on a team that if they had lost this, they were going to probably be up for the #1 draft choice, and you lose, and you're talking about you're a good team. I always look at the defense as the problem for that because I know our offense didn't score enough points, and I know that's my son going to jump on that during the course of this show. But don't tell me if they don't score at all, you can't lose. Am I telling you the truth, so?
Well, at the end of the day, Pops, first of all, one thing Sal said, and that's what makes Sal so great, he made a word play mistake, but it was the truth. Washington beat Washington. The mistakes they were making back and forth, like he said, and he kept saying it, but I was like, wow, Sal's so great. When he even makes the word play mistake, he's saying the truth. Washington beat Washington. They were lethargic coming out. I didn't see them stick like it was the stadium was real quiet. Like it's like they didn't stick to their routine. It's like we had a whole different team. They were real quiet during their warm-ups. It was just real, like I could sense that, okay, this isn't the same team. And I'm kind of agreeing with what Sal was saying. It's time for them to have their bye because I think they got away with what's got them here so far. And it showed definitely yesterday.
So as you went into the locker room, Donna, and I noticed that the offense was very glib in what they were saying and very well spoken. What did you get from the defense?
Yeah, Tony. I think the defense has played well, Tony, overall. I mean, they held this team in check for most of the game. It's the
Can somebody give me a
no,
Bible?
no. Let me just finish.
Somebody give me a Bible. We want this legitimately.
The first half of the season, it was the defense that was tripping up, and the offense was the one that was the machine that was moving. Now the offense that went into park, and now it's the defense that's moving along. And like you said, they did not stop the run, and they've got another runner in Tennessee next week in Tony Pollard, who had 119 yards. So they got another runner coming in again. And so this defense, I still say, Tony, as Gary always say, that they have played well enough that they should be winning these games because they're not letting teams put up a lot of mistakes. A lot of points, but it's mistakes. But you know what? You don't have to listen to me, Tony. Let's go right into the locker room to hear what the players had to say. And they still holding out, Tony, that this team is going to move forward and get it right.
You look at this game and you say what?
I look at this game and say it was ugly. We had moments where we looked really good. We had moments where we didn't, and it's a learning. We got to put everything together, and like I said, we will. I'm confident in that.
What are the words for this game?
We just got to win. Win. That's it.
What do you think is going on right now? Because there, as Terry said, it was opportunities out there, but what do you put your finger on?
I just think we just got to be able to win. I mean, there's definitely plays and opportunities out there we got to make, and we just got to make them when they come.
I mean, we just got to stick with our process and winning. I mean, that's what it's going to come down to. We've learned a lot of lessons the past 3 weeks. It's just time to apply them now.
Definitely fixable. That's just something that we got to do as players and coaches. You know, everybody is one. It's a one locker room. We all together. So we just need everybody to be at their best.
And we have to understand that every team that we play is a good team. Like, no matter what the record is, no matter what the situation is, these guys get paid just like we get paid. And it's a learning process. It's, a lot of guys need to learn that, and we're fine. Like, we're good. It's, as long as we take these lessons and start applying them, like, we're fine. So it's no reason to panic, no reason to start thinking negatively. We had opportunities, even through all the craziness that happened, we had opportunities to execute at the end, and we didn't do it. This is a great team. And a lot of people are going to finish and write the story. We have 4 games left, or however many games left. And so talk to me at the end of that season. But, like, I'm not one of the guys that's going to dive into the negativity, and obviously we've lost 3 straights and things like that. And all this will go away once we win and go on a 4-game win streak. Then you guys will come in and say, what went right? And the questions will be different. It's just where we're at in the moment. You understand where we're at in the moment. But I have all the confidence in this group, in this team. I'm excited for the challenge that we have in front of us, and I think we're going to do an amazing job. And I look forward to seeing you in 4 games.
Look forward to seeing you, Tony.
Now, you don't want to see me, because you know what? He see me fighting the bear, he better help the bear. Because I'm going to tell you what, one thing I do notice in that interview, what did I feel? I didn't feel surety in what they were saying. Sal, did you feel that way? I felt it with Bobby because Bobby been there a long time. But I just didn't feel we got to do it and we can do it as a team. Like one guy even said, the players and the coaches put you in the right position. You got to play.
They still got a coach.
Well, here's the thing that I've always learned in my 32 years of covering the NFL, and I've been in NFL locker rooms. I take players seriously, but I don't take them literally.
Mm-hmm.
And I think knowing Bobby Wagner, knowing some of the veteran players like Zach Ertz on that football team, and having been around Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury, you got to look at the last 3 games specifically and try to fix what's going on. So first, again, I like to play big picture, little picture. The NFL is a 1-score league. Going into week 12, the highest percentage of games have been decided by 6 points or less in NFL history. So you're always going to be in close games. If you're playing the Titans, The Eagles, the Steelers, the Cowboys, it doesn't matter. You're going to be in close games in the NFL, unless, it's the Patriots against the 49ers. So it's a one-score league. So you have to do the little things right. So Donna ticked off all of the things that the Commanders did poorly, little mistakes, missed point after. That kickoff return where the guy does the 180 and goes and takes it to the house 95 yards. That was a backbreaker. That was a total backbreaker for that football team, and yet they battled. They continued to battle. The Steelers, heartbreaking loss. The only game of the last three that were really never in doubt was the Eagles game. You had the Hail Mary win. You had the heartbreak touchdown pass from Russell Wilson in the Pittsburgh game. The Eagles just steamrolled you in the fourth quarter on a short week in Philly. Tough place to play. But 3 of the 4 quarters, Tony McGee, the Commanders showed up.
Yeah.
They ran out of gas. And they just made too many little mistakes to beat the Cowboys. You look at the numbers, the Commanders had more passing yards, more rushing yards, more total yards than the Cowboys. They were scoring when they wanted to. In most cases, the offense was playing pretty well, but they made too many little mistakes and didn't win the football game as a result. So, as I said, you beat the Titans, and you can definitely beat the Titans. You go on a bye, and now you right the ship for a run at a wild card spot. That's where I see this team is headed.
And I tell you what, that's a very good analogy of what transpired there. And you take a look at it, it's time. And, we've been speaking this, and it kind of caught my mind when Bobby said it's 4 games. I think it's 5. But if you're looking at, this is the time of the year that you play for, and you want to get to this point. And they need to look at what they're doing and why they're having the problem. And Donna,
So, let me jump in here for a second, Tony, and Jason knows this, and you know this, and Solomon and Donna. The 3 things that I look at, if you're going to make a playoff run, if you have a winning record and you have a shot, 1, quarterback can't turn the ball over. 2, rushing attempts have to be high. 3, points allowed have to be low. Those are the 3 main indicators in November and December of who goes to the playoffs and who doesn't with a winning record. And I see the problem being rushing attempts for this football team. They have to be able to pass to score and run to win at the end of the game. And they weren't able to do that last night in Landover. In my opinion, that's where they are. Donna mentioned the 2 injuries to Eckler and Robinson. Where are the rushing attempts going to come from? And don't tell me they're coming from Jaden Daniels, because that would be a mistake.
And that was their best runners too. And I tell you, when you take a look at that, and Jason, you've been in that situation before. What do you do to make up for that? Do you start throwing shorter passes and let your passes and schematically you start thinking about your run and you throw 2 or 3 yard passes, or how do you overcome that?
Well, a lot of what Sal is saying is so true. You think about it, you're in DC, and a lot of games that you play, especially in the northeastern time zone, is one thing you got to be able to run the football in November and December to win in the National Football League, because you're going to run into some cold weather games. You're going to run into some windy games, even some rainy games. So you got to be ready to run the football and win at the point of attack. And I feel like for this football team, they struggle because they can't convert on third downs. You're 4 for 12 on third down. So that means from a rhythm standpoint, to be able to go like a 2-minute offense or up tempo, if you want to call it, you have to be in rhythm. And when your rhythm gets broken, it's almost like they're trying to find out how to get it back. And ever since, to me, the Philadelphia game, for most of that game, Washington was in control. Where it kind of started to fall apart was when they decided to go for it on 4th down rather than kick that field goal. If you kick the field goal, you go up by a point. When they decided not to kick that field goal and Philly went down the field and scored, it seemed like from that standpoint, it did something. I'm not sure if it made the defense feel like you're not as confident that we could stop these guys or whatever, but there's something that just kind of stops your rhythm. And as an offense and as a defense, they was doing really well early in the year, feeding off each other. And to me, that's when the things start to kind of derail a little bit. When they decided to go for it on that 4th down and didn't get it, after that, it just kind of started to – there's some trust that kind of got lost somewhere. And as a whole, I feel like for Jaden Daniels is let Jaden be Jaden.
Yes.
Yesterday he had 7 rushes for 74 yards.
Get him outside. Get him outside.
But in order for them to win, you got to let Jaden be Jaden in order to win these games. And he's going to make some mistakes. He's still a young quarterback. But at the end of the day, your veterans have got to come and answer the bell. They got to find a way to get Terry McLaurin involved early in the ball game. When Eckler get back and Brian Robinson, you got to let those 2 guys be your 1-2 punch, and then let Jaden have an opportunity to hit those 2nd to 3rd level throws.
Hey, Tony, the other thing, too, that you talk about, where is this running game going to come from? Well, it's going to have to come from Jeremy McNichols, and then they let go Chris Rodriguez because of the punting. They had to bring the punter back up. So you're going to hope to get him back because he at least knows this offense. So hopefully Chris Rodriguez will be back. But when you also look at this 3-game stretch for this Commanders team, before when they were winning, they weren't in long 3rd downs. I mean, they would pick up 5-6 yards on the 1st down. So when they got to 3rd down, they may have had to pick up 2 to 3 yards. But in these last 3 games that they've lost, they've been in long situation on 3rd down. That goes back to that running game again, Tony. So they're going to have to rely on these 2 runners, hopefully getting Chris Rodriguez back to be able to keep this running game going. But even with those guys, Kingsbury has to run the ball and put that in the scheme. And as Jason said, and I've been saying from day one, let Jaden be Jaden. Don't even say something.
If John and Hopkins figured out, boy, they really got some work to do. But
oh no, you know.
Hey,
I noticed one thing. Wait a minute. Is there any reason, Sal, you said that Bobby and other people know what they're talking about, but you never anybody ever said Donna knew?
They already knew it, Tony. They already knew it.
Go there. Let's talk about what we do know. We already have said there's 3 facets to a team. Now, this was a history day on Sunday. When you have 2 returns for touchdowns, you have 2 block kicks, you have 2 missed extra points, but you don't want to be on the wrong side of history. And just like I told you guys, when the special team guys aren't doing their job, it's time for them to leave. So you give them an apple and a roadmap and let them hit the road. I got 6 of them waiting for Wednesday, and Donna, your name's on one. We'll be back in a moment.
I don't think so.
Frosted Flakes good? They're great. Great.
You're still great, Grandpa.
See? Told ya.
They're great.
People don't know the real story of what happened.
It was an unbelievable series of events and an unbelievable time.
Their championship was taken away from them in 1969. We are living in their championship now.
50-some years later, good is coming from it. They are impacting state after state after state after state.
And we're going to show the world how to love.
Well, you know what? Each and every week and each and every year we speak of 3 facets to a team: offense, defense, special team. On Sunday, we had the rare occasion of seeing a historic game. The only thing that was not good for us with that we were on the wrong side of history. You don't give up 2 block kicks. You don't give up 2 touchdowns. You don't give up a game that you got in your hip pocket because of special team. And what I said in going out, special team players are put on there because they can play in the big game. So while they're waiting to get into the big game, they must perform on the little stage. They did not get that done. So I have always heard, Donna, in every job you got, if you don't do, you about the only person I've seen that can work for the show and and get paid and don't know it. But let me go there. Let me go there. I've always heard if you don't do your job, you get fired. So is there special team players that should go in there a little bit worried right now?
Oh, one of us do our jobs. That's the reason why I'm setting up here still. But Tony, I'm gonna go to the locker room to hear from Coach Quinn and Alston. But I think that the key thing is that they brought him back a little bit too soon because he was still nursing that injury, even though he kicked well. I saw him last week kick well out there, but maybe he wasn't ready to go. But don't take my word for it, Tony. But he's beat up about it. He did a good job. But let's go hear what Coach Quinn had to say in Austin about special teams.
It was a wild special teams game, and I thought I told the players, you'll like the first 56 minutes or so. There was a blocked field goal and a blocked punt and energy to go, and so to see one go back the other way on our cover team, which we really think is one of the stronger groups that we do. That was certainly one that left a mark for us to say this one's going to sting.
Just wasn't striking well, but it means a lot to me to be here with these guys. So just want to put my best foot moving forward.
What happened on the onside kick?
I should have hit a little bit more left. Hit it right to the guy. That's what you get when that happens. So that falls on me too.
Now hold on, Pops. You see that? Now that's the thing about it. First of all, I'm gonna tell y'all, a hip flexor injury, and that's the injury he had. That affects your whole, especially if you're a kicker, it affects your motion and everything you need to do as far as your hip and your knee and going to your ankle. But then on top of that, I heard him say the key word, I wanted to be out here with my boys. That's cool and all, but when you know you're hurt, that's when you probably tell the coach, give me one more game, keep Gonzalez, because I'm gonna be honest, up to this point, our special teams hasn't been that bad. We've had Eckler return a couple kicks. Sieber's been pretty much perfect up to this last game, and I've been impressed with the way we've been tackling, like the number 57 guy that we actually went out to get as a special team player. So up to this game, it hasn't been bad, but the key word he said is, I miss being out there with my boys. So I feel like he forced himself out there. Am I the only one thinking that?
Yeah, well, you're right about that, but at the same time, that's why you got coaches, and they should look at that at the same way. We know you want to help, but there's always been opportunity that you have to go out there and do what's best for the team. I'm not placing it all on him, though. He had nothing to do with the run backs. He had nothing to do with the blocks. And so, and then if you really want to be truthful on one of those field goals, the holder messed up the hole. So it was all of them. It was a unit, and that's why they have to operate as a unit, and they just didn't get it done. And you can see that all over the league, Sal. Isn't there a lot of extra points being missed now?
Yeah, the special teams coaches are definitely doing their film study. You saw that with Kansas City against Denver. But you can't trust kickers right now in the NFL for some reason. Look at Justin Tucker in Baltimore. Jake Elliott has missed a couple of key kicks for the Philadelphia Eagles. Right now, that seems to be a little bit of an epidemic of an issue. But, as I said before, it's a one-score league. So you got to have a reliable kicker in the National Football League. And operationally, you have to have a reliable kicking game. And if you don't have that in the one-score league, you're going to lose some games like they lost last night, even though they outgained them in the passing game and in the running game. And they showed that they had a lot of resilience. And I thought that it showed toughness. I thought they showed toughness against the Steelers, acute toughness, good toughness, all the way across. And for 3 quarters against Philadelphia. I like the team a lot. I really do. And I like the quarterback a lot. I think the arrow is definitely pointing up for them overall, big picture. But as I said at the beginning, Tony, if the bye had come after the Pittsburgh game, I think they win the next 2 games instead of losing them.
That's interesting.
He exactly right, because NFL is a long season. And when you think about special teams, go ask the Cincinnati Bengals, how much special teams has cost them this year.
There's another one.
That's the difference between them winning the division right now and trying to fight to even have a chance to even be in the playoffs. They've had a lot of heartbreakers this year just off special teams. So as a whole, the teams that are really good at it, I said, Justin Tucker this year, like this dude has been one of the best kickers of all times, and he's struggling a little bit this season. So you go through those hiccups and you go through those highs and lows during season. And that's why you always say that a lot of teams, they start off fast, but then you get a little worried because can you keep it up for 17, 18 weeks? It's about getting hot at the right time. And I do feel like I was saying, had the bye come after the Pittsburgh game, you get a chance to regroup. Like this is a physical game. And then you get ready for the home stretch. Now they got to play Tennessee, and then you get a little bit of a break before you go into the home stretch. But a lot of teams that win those last 4 to 5 games going into the playoffs, and they don't get the bye and they end up playing in a wild card game, typically does well in the playoffs because they get into a rhythm and they get into a flow. And that's what Washington was in earlier in the year. So if they can get that back and get guys back healthy and find their rhythm again offensively, then, it's anyone's game at this standpoint. Like there's not just a dominant team that you can just say this year this team's going to win the Super Bowl.
Wait. Hold on a second. I'm in Philadelphia. Come on now.
I know you're going to say
that. They won 7 in a row over here, okay? 7 in a row. And they will look pretty dominant on Sunday Night Football. But listen,
hey, he wasn't going to let you get it past with JK.
Hey, you know what?
What was that about, Jason? What was that?
They running the football good, which is what you want to do to win games, right? If you're going to win a Super Bowl, you still got to be able to run the football. Even, the years the Chiefs have won them, like, defense, special teams, but you still got to be able to do the number one thing that the game starts with first, win the line of scrimmage. And right now the Eagles are winning the line of scrimmage with those D tackles they got in the first round and all those guys, they're winning up front. And I don't know, like that's why the Giants are losing right now. They don't have Saquon Barkley. And they figured that out. They chose Daniel Jones.
No, they losing because they were stupid.
That's real. Well, let me give you a number, Donna, off of Jason's point. The Eagles' offensive line now last night. So Saquon Barkley had 264 yards rushing before contact. Okay, so that means before a defender laid a glove on him. That's good offensive line play. That's not really all Saquon Barkley. But I will just say this about the Commanders. Bottom line is, I'm going to say it. They got to win this game against They got to win this game against the Titans. This is an absolute must-win. Got to win this game. Got to have it. Must-win game against the Titans. They got to win this game. Can't lose.
But you said something important. You and Jason Bay said something about the line play, the upfront play. But the Commanders right now, that's where they're having their problem right now, and is their line, the offensive line that has been nicked up, and Andrew Wiley out with a concussion, may not play this week against Tennessee. And that to me is where an area on this team right now that's struggling is their offensive line. Their offensive line on the front end did a pretty good job, but now you said that is one in the trenches up front. And right now that's the hiccup right there for this Commanders team is getting that offensive line shored up.
And this is the problem with some of these young offensive coordinators, and Jason will attest to this. Sean McVay, LaFleur, the guy in Cincinnati with Cliff Kingsbury. The dirty little secret is they're not focused on protecting the quarterback on their offense. And you've got to be creative when you're not getting the protection, the pass pro from your offensive line. That means they got to get boot action, whatever they can do, get Jaden Daniels out of the pocket and get the ball out quickly. Hut, ball out in 2.5 seconds max. Got to have the ball out.
All right. Well, I tell you what, we heard that from South. Thanks for coming on, and we'll look for you to come back. I'm not going to say when Washington's in the playoffs. I'm going to say when there are playoffs. We want you to come back. Okay. But at the same time, if you take a look at this, guys, we're getting ready to go around the league. And everything we kind of dedicated that last time to was right now, it really seems to not be over 1 or 2. Detroit, maybe Philly, maybe a couple of other dominant teams at this time. Let's take a look at what we thought was happening up in Baltimore. Exactly 0. So when we come back, we're going to run down these teams. Notice I didn't even say the 49ers because now they're the 29ers. We'll be back in a moment.
Frosted Flakes good? They're great. Great.
You're still great, Grandpa.
See? Told ya.
They're great.
People don't know the real story of what happened.
It was an unbelievable series of events and an unbelievable time.
Their championship was taken away from them in 1969. We are living in their championship now.
50 some years later, good is coming from it. They are impacting state after state after state after state.
And we're going to show the world how to love.
Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus Speakers Bureau offers you various opportunities to connect with former and current players along with Tony and the crew. For more information, go to redmagplus.com Speakers Bureau.
Well, we come to the fun part of the segment of the show where we're talking about and think we're talking about we know what we know and who's going to win, who's not going to win. We even got the restaurants doing that. And Donna, I tell you what, you got a real battle there. And then with our little challenge, it's getting bigger and bigger each and every week. So we got a few minutes here. Let's roll it and tell the people what is transpiring out there in public.
Well, Tony, it's some good stuff with this challenge because you think the Commanders need some wins. Some of these people need some wins too with their picks. But the Glory Days, they need no help with their picks, Tony. 14-1. Hey, Jim over there. Sunday, this week, he's picking the Eagles. Monday, the Chargers. But you know what? It's great things happening over there with the Glory Days. Tony, talk to me a little bit about what they have to offer. What? Hey, but let's go to Chris.
Wait a minute. Wait. We're going to go back. What you cut me off for? You told me to tell them how great they are.
Hey, Tony, you wasn't saying anything, but you was making my stomach hungry because I'm hungry right now.
Okay, well, they got some of the best wings you'll ever get, and all their food is great. I'll shut up from there.
Well, let me just say this. Crystal City Restaurant. Hey, Billy over there. Hey, 13-2. You right behind the Glory Days. Sunday, they're picking the Eagles. Monday, the Chargers. Solomon, what do you know about Crystal City Restaurant?
The crab cake platter.
Man, that's my favorite too. We got to get over there.
I'm allergic to seafood, but I tell you what, they got so many other things you can enjoy. And the one thing that you can't enjoy the most is the host, Billy Bang.
Hey, Billy, keep picking the way you are because Glory Days, hey, they're up.
Now you can't forget the pub now. You got to come with the pub.
Hey, but I'm coming. Crystal City Pub is next, Tony, at 11-4. Hey, Jim over there, another Jim. Over there, he's picking on Sunday the Rams, Monday the Ravens. I can't believe people pick the Chargers over the Ravens, but not Jim over there. Hey, what do y'all know about Crystal City Pub? What do we have on our plate over there?
Oh, man. You know, that's why I'm not standing up now because you'll tell I've been enjoying it. But at the same time, they have one of the best hamburgers, and you just take a good swig of it and a good swig of something else. Man, it's fun, but always take the Uber when you go home.
Hey, Jason, you like all that food. I know it's making, because Jason is a cook. So.
All right, you know what? That's a challenge to me. What?
All I know is, Jason, I see those recipes there. But next we have Kellogg's at 10-5. Brian, come on, you got to get it going because you're behind, but you still got plenty of time. We still got plenty of football to go. Sunday, Kellogg's is picking the Rams, and the Monday night, the Ravens. So, Tony,
do you know how major that is for us to have a major food company picking on our show? And they're going to do, we're just giving y'all a head start because y'all know Kellogg, Battle Creek, that's my hometown. We just giving you a head start.
Hey, they used to be on front of Kellogg. Used to be on front of Kellogg cereal box, didn't you?
Tony the Tiger.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was more chef, right, Jason?
Yeah, the Tiger.
Hey, there you go.
I like that. Tony the Tiger. But last but not far behind, the drum roll. Still familiar. Hey, Steve. Come on, Steve. I know you got in a little late, but come on. You need to get to going. But I don't know about this week. Steve, y'all are at 7-4, still familiar. Sunday, picking the Rams. Monday, the Ravens. Well, you may have got one of those, but Solomon, I wanted to get out my drums and start beating, because they the go-go. They're known as the go-go of DC.
Hey, they bring that good sound. You can check for them on their Instagram or their Facebook or where they're performing. And we actually got a couple more bands that's about to join us. We've been in contact with this band called the Red Carpet Affair that's going to actually be joining us. So if you game, come holler at us. We'll put you in the game, in the mix.
And we'll use percentages so you still have opportunity to win. And speaking of opportunity to win, we better hit our picks right quick because I know I must be pulling away.
Hey,
I ain't
Tony,
the best in the world,
hey,
but
Tony, you are not pulling away because you went 3-2 this week, and yours truly and the rest of the group went 4-1, and yours truly is right up there with the glory days, leading the pack. Yours truly of the challenge. So put it up there. But Tony jumped ahead. But Tony, let's go around the NFL because I know you want to get in the head of the lead for the picks, but you're far behind, Tony. But let's talk a little bit about what's going on around the league. Hey, Jason, I'm starting with you. The Eagles and the Ravens, a big game coming up this week. The Eagles at 8-2 are playing at the Ravens. The Ravens got to play on Monday night. They're at 7-4. How do you see that game shaping out?
I'm taking the Ravens at home. I just think they're going to get back to getting that ball to Derrick Henry. Who knows what the weather's going to look like. And if it comes down to a running game, I know both teams can run the football, but I still like the Baltimore defense to show up. I still think they got an opportunity to still take this team where they need to go to the end of the year.
Hey, Tony, is Jason right? Come on.
Who are the Ravens playing on Monday night first? Who are they playing?
The Chargers.
Okay, so that's going to be a not real physical game, but it's going to be physical, two brothers, so it's going to be a lot given there. I really was going to make this a breakout game, but I don't think they can do it, so I may have to go with Philadelphia.
Hey, Solomon, we just want to bring you into the mix to hear what you got to say about this mega game that's coming up against the Eagles and the Ravens.
I'm going to have to lean towards, I hate to say this, the Eagles are flying right now, so they may come up here because I'm just not sold on the Ravens. Another person I'm going to lean on is I'm going for them Tigers against them Elephants. Let's go.
You got that right.
Let's go, Auburn.
We're going to roll the tide. That's what we're going to do.
Hey, Jason, you the only one picking the Ravens because but look at this.
Hey, put it this way, I'm going to tell y'all why, though.
Barkley and Derrick Henry, but one team won't run their running back.
Hey, guess what? All I got to say, Baltimore needs a game more than the Eagles. The Eagles can afford to drop one. Baltimore, right now, they can't. Pittsburgh let them back in with that loss to the Cleveland last week. So Baltimore's thinking about trying to get this one tonight and then go back home and get the Eagles.
Yeah, they need it because they don't get it. They're in real trouble, and you're right about that. And talking about leading, don't let nobody lead you down a dark alley because they'll leave you there.
Let's talk about the Steelers, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's stay in that division too, because the Steelers are at 8-3, playing the Bengals at 4-7. And let me just say this: no matter what the Bengals record is, we found out that with Dallas, is that this is the divisional game. I'm starting with you, Tony. How do you see that playing out? Just because it's a losing record for the Bengals, they played Baltimore hard. They played Pittsburgh hard the last time.
I got Pittsburgh going to win, but the only thing I just hope they didn't drop their rabbit's foot in that last game because they sure didn't look real lucky then. But they are a pretty good team, and I know the one thing I like about them, they're playing and they're winning because of their defense, and they still got enough offense with Russell they can get things done. But at the same time, they can't afford mistakes. I'm going with them, but to tell you one thing, the Bengals, they're not dead yet.
Hey, Jason and Solomon, I can't go to you all because we got to go to break.
Well, I'm just going to say Bengals.
Giving all that false information.
I was going to
All
say
right,
Bengals.
we're back in the moment.
I'm going to say Bengals. I'm going Bengals.
All right.
Frosted Flakes, good? They're great. Great.
They're still great, Grandpa.
See? Told ya.
They're great.
In the Minute with Tony and Donna. You can catch them weekly on their podcast, and you can also subscribe to their YouTube channel, In the Minute.
People don't know the real story of what happened.
It was an unbelievable series of events and an unbelievable time.
Their championship was taken away from them in 1969. We are living in their championship now.
50 some years later, good is coming from it. They are impacting state after state after state after state.
And we're going to show the world how to love.
Well, we're going to do this quicker than you can look at the pics right there. I will be dominating in a little while. Thanks, Jay, for being here with us. And I tell you what, as long as you want to, I will be Shaft's daddy. But you got to explain that to my son there. Thank all of you for being there. But one thing we want to do is we'll be back next week. We talk a lot of game. And, you know, we may not be the best in the world, but we're the best we've ever seen. We never say goodbye. We say, in the minute.